Number 10. Having a high-paying career. Hold on. Let me cook. I know this sounds counterintuitive, but I can assure you that having a big paycheck isn't as big of a flex as you think it is. I work on the executive floor of one of the biggest banks in the world, and I'm in daily contact with not only high-powered business executives, but also foreign dignitaries, politicians, and multimillionaires. These people are the extremes, but I also have plenty of coworkers who are in their 20s just like me, easily making over 6 figures. And that's exactly what you were taught to want from a young age, right? Not necessarily. One of the biggest downsides to having a high-paying career is just how much your life is spent at work. Even outside of my work, I have a lot of family members in high-powered roles, and let me tell you, I've seen the same pattern everywhere. The big paycheck isn't actually for your benefit. It's like cheap consolidation for signing away your life to your job. You have no free time, no weekends, no time to enjoy yourself or your family, no time to breathe. Every single waking moment is spent making your employer richer. Now, that might work for a select few personalities, but I think most people don't really want that. Most people want a colorful and varied human experience. The advice I would give to you if you're just starting out is to optimize for lifestyle instead of salary. So for example, what does your weekly schedule look like? Are you able to find time to enjoy yourself throughout the week, or are you just waiting for that one day on every weekend so you can just burn through all that hard-earned money just to feel something? The happiest, most successful people I've met in my 4 years of corporate Manhattan aren't the ones at the top, but rather the ones in the middle. The ones who just make a cool 70k but have a chill life, clean work-life balance with time to devote to their hobbies and relationships as they see fit. Striving towards big goals isn't really a bad thing, as we'll get into later in this video, but it might not be what you actually want, and you might not be able to pay that price in the long term. Number 9. Buying too much stuff. When I crossed the 6-figure mark at 27 years old, there was a point where I didn't know what to do with my money. Ever since my family moved here from Sri Lanka, I grew up in a lower middle class with my dad having to work 2 jobs and like 55 hours a week to support my family. I had a comfortable and mostly happy childhood, but I knew we weren't exactly thriving. So when I finally got the bag, I went on a huge spending spree. Shoes, chains, bought a house and a car. The whole 9 yards. Like literally everything that 20-year-olds these days bitch about on TikTok, I speed ran in like 3 months. And let me tell you, it was genuinely cool for the first few weeks. It was the first time I lived in a house that had more than one story and a backyard, and several months later, I'm still getting used to it. But here's the thing, guys. The things you own end up owning you. I have a nice house, but damn near all of my paycheck is going towards the mortgage. I have a nice car, but what's left of my check is paying off the car. All the bullshit I bought on a whim is just sitting here gathering dust. Like, look at all of these shoes right now. I've worn all of these shoes for a total of like once or twice each, and they cost like almost $1,000 combined. What people don't realize about these big impressive things is that they have a maintenance cost attached to them. You don't just have to work to acquire it, but you have to keep working on it to have it around. And usually, the bigger it is, the more you have to work to maintain it. The subtext here is that this is not just about material things. It goes for the job that you want, the woman that you want, the life that you want. Everything. The bigger, more impressive your goals are, the longer it takes to achieve and the harder it is to maintain it. Listen, I'm not telling you what to do with your money, spend it however you want, but it's not just as simple as buying something you like. You probably aren't prepared to pay the maintenance cost of some of the big purchases you're fantasizing about right now. So instead of jumping ship and being stuck with a bill, assess whether it's just FOMO or if you're actually really prepared to pay that maintenance cost. Moving on, number 8. Undervaluing looks. Listen, we all like to believe our skills and contributions will carry us over in whatever we're trying to achieve. One thing I've learned in working in an elite corporate environment is that it's full of people that invest into their outward appearance. Now, I'm not saying it's the only thing that matters, but I'll be damned if it wasn't top 3. Just like how your education is important, just like how having a healthy lifestyle is important, investing in your appearance is equally as important. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, it's fucking cope. I grew up in an immigrant family that valued education above all else. Now, I'm not saying that was a wrong play, obviously. It has served me decently well in my adult life. However, I wish my parents would have urged me to have a positive outlook on other areas of my life as well, such as appearance. See guys, in video game terms, being good looking makes you quote-unquote meta. People are a lot more willing to give you their time of day if you're easier to look at. You can bet your ass I wouldn't have this cushy corporate job right now if it wasn't for how much I had worked on my appearance over the past few years. I think the mental block that some people have to taking their look seriously is because they don't want to be perceived as shallow or superficial. But ask yourself, perceived by who? Are you trying to impress some imaginary crowd who thinks you're virtuous just because you're chopped? Do you relish self-sabotage? You think highly of yourself because not taking care of your appearance is some kind of hippie virtue? Now, I'm not telling you to become MBJ or Sydney Sweeney, but kill the notion that you're somehow better than people because you don't invest in your appearance. It's equally as important as any other good habit that you were taught from a young age. Number 7. Overvaluing ambition. This is something I actually learned quite recently at 27. Ambition is seen universally as a good thing, especially for guys. It gives you a higher ceiling, faster progress, women find it attractive, it's all good. It's marketed as this miracle drug. And that's exactly what it is, a drug. The older I get, the more I realize ambition can sometimes be a coping mechanism for trauma. It's a very effective tool in trading your human freedom for arbitrary numbers, titles, and accomplishments. An unhealthy, obsessive amount of ambition can come from someone who was taught from a very young age that they needed to earn their value, instead of being taught that they always had value to begin with. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. We're all expected to demonstrate value one way or another, and wanting to achieve more value isn't really a bad thing. But be careful that your ambition isn't just your insecurities running in overdrive. At my job, I interact with the kinds of people that most business majors dream of becoming 30 or 40 years into their career. Like, all of them are C-suite executive guys. That's the people I deal with. And let me tell you, they're some of the most ambitious but insecure people I have ever met. Their whole world is based off of what they can produce, and they forsake their family and personal time to just churn out more value for the CEO and the board of directors. Now, this is great for the board, but is it actually great for them as people? Is that big paycheck worth it? That's what I want you guys to analyze. Don't get brainwashed by the allure of ambition. Your work and results should give you inherent satisfaction and shouldn't be used to run away and hide from your internal problems. And that ties neatly into number 6, and that's focusing only on tangible results. These days, I feel like we're told to focus on the quantifiable things in life, like how much money you make, how many relationships you've had, and what stuff you own. Everything that can be seen and measured. Now, I'm not here to tell you these are bad things per se. Materialistic things can genuinely improve your life, a la my literal house. But when you focus only on quantifiable things, it's like trying to build a skyscraper on sand. The older I get, the more I realize your mental health determines what kinds of things you try to achieve. Even after you achieve them, your mental health dictates how happy your achievements make you feel. Just think for a second how overpowered that is. You can literally bust your ass grinding for something, and even after you achieve it, it feels empty because your mental health is all screwed up. I made this mistake when I was first starting out. The people around me made this mistake, and I assume many more people are going to make this mistake as well. Look inward and figure out why you want the things you want. Yes, it's going to make you feel better, but why? Are you interested in seducing lots of women because you didn't get attention from them in your adolescence? Are you interested in quote-unquote improving yourself because some clown online told you that women want 6 figures, 6 feet, and a six-pack? There is a lot of money to be made by making you feel insufficient and then selling you the solution, especially in a world driven by algorithms designed to track attention and influence behavior. You should grind because you love the process, and you would do it even if you didn't get anything in return. That's like me with this YouTube channel. That's what makes life worth living and also produces the best work. Don't force yourself to do something because you feel insufficient by comparison. It's the quickest way to explode your mental health and create additional trauma for you in your 30s. Number 5. Living your life to impress others. Now listen guys, as a CEO of wasting my time trying to impress others, I'm telling you all, don't follow in my footsteps. As a teenager and young adult, I got addicted to League of Legends because I wanted to be perceived by a certain way by my friends. I spent hours and hours learning and getting better at the game, and eventually got the praise and reverence that I so desperately wanted. Fast forward a few years later, when I've outgrown and left that friend group, I realized just what a massive waste of time that was. I must have put like fucking 20,000 hours into that game, just for all of it to be meaningless in the very end. The big picture lesson for you guys is to understand that the people you rock with can change very, very quickly. You will start to realize this as you join the workforce, but some people just take a different path in their lives, and their path simply doesn't involve you. And that's normal. As people get older and older and older, their priorities change, their friend groups change, and sometimes you just drift apart. It is what it is. That's why it's important to stay focused and borderline selfish on your path and what your priorities are, because you're investing into something that has a much lower chance of wasting your time. When you live for other people, you become dependent on them for your satisfaction, happiness, sense of fulfillment, and just about fucking everything else. At that point, you're living less like a human and more like a puppet reliant on its handler to function. The lesson here? Be more selfish. I'm not saying you shouldn't make time for other people, we'll talk about that later, but please, for the love of God, put yourself in front. The older I get and the closer I get to 30, literally none of the people I knew from ages like fucking 10 through 25 are in my life today. Not a single one. The path I'm on simply doesn't have any room for them. Let me give you guys a personal example, right? I have a selfless father that was solely focused on providing for his family, and I'm grateful for that. He's worked, like I said, 50 plus hours for about 18 years since we came to this country, and doesn't even have a retirement account because he used that for his family. Since he's so selfless, now it's on us to take care of him for the rest of his life. Me and my sister. And while me and my sister have no problem doing that, can you guys see that being utterly selfless paradoxically makes it harder on the people around you? Like, they have to invest extra effort into taking care of you since you're not doing it for yourself. You know that thing when you're flying on an airplane and they say put your fucking mask on first before you help other people? It's the same notion here. Instead of trying to vicariously be happy through other people, do the behavior that will make you happy. Stop outsourcing happiness to other people and getting a watered down version of it. Put yourself first and get the real thing. Number 4, building a life without adversity. Before I got promoted to my new job, my old boss told me something I will remember for the rest of my life. Adversity is such a precious thing to waste. Adversity sucks in the moment, but when you go to bed at night or look back a year from now, that will be what you remember fondly. Humans grow when they're exposed to just enough adversity that they have to push themselves outside of their comfort zone to overcome it. This is what's called the Goldilocks zone. If your life is way too easy and autopilot, then it's really no different than being dead. Especially these days, where your brain will be tickled by all the right stimulants in all the right places, giving you guys the rewards without putting in any of the work. It's like eating candy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It might feel good at the start, but as the days goes on, you just feel shittier and shittier. Building a life full of comfort is just like that, but over the span of months and years. I'm not telling you guys not to have fun or indulge in yourself here and there, but make no mistake that there should be at least 20% of your day where you're being pushed outside of your comfort zone. Even just a little, so you can give yourself the opportunity to grow and reap the benefits of that growth. Put yourself out there, get rejected, try and fail at something. These are the moments in your life that build character and makes you more resistant for the bullshit that life will eventually throw in your face. If you coddle yourself up with constant stimulation, you'll end up repeating the same 6 months over and over again until you're 60 and then wonder where your life went. Number 3, admiring the wrong people. This is even more true than when I was in my 20s because the internet is filled with sub 100 IQ mouth breathers who are all pretending that they have the answers. Your 20s can be particularly hard because you haven't really figured out who you are yet. It's like playing a character and not knowing whether you're the warrior, archer, or mage. During this decade of your life, it makes sense to look at external characters to try to get inspiration from. Literally everyone does that. So did I. So given everybody online is trying to give their 2 cents, how do you decide who the right person to follow is? You don't. And that's the point. Different philosophies will connect with you at different stages of your life. They aren't necessarily right or wrong per se, and that's okay. The problem isn't following one dogma or another, the problem is sticking to one for far too long after you've outgrown it. When I was younger, I used to follow a lot of traumatized masculine role models who spoke with so much conviction about their worldview and persuaded me to follow along. And I'll admit, their teachings have been useful and some are still useful even to this day. However, as I went through my mid-20s and saw different perspectives of life, most of their advice was simply just not suitable for the person I wanted to become and was becoming. I understood this, but I still wasted a good 12 months before I finally shed myself of those role models and started looking elsewhere. For me, it was 12 months, but for some people, it's their whole lifetime. Don't be afraid to change role models. That's a sign that you're growing and the previous identity coat that you were wearing is just too small for the current you. And that's okay. Moving on to number 2, it's not investing into the people that care about you. I spoke about this concept in my first video, but there's only a certain number of people that will always have your back no matter what. Whether it's friends, family, teachers, or anyone else, the older you get, the more you realize that there's like 5 to 20 people that actually care for you and want the best for you at all times. They'll stick with you through thick and thin and support you even when you're being difficult. When I was going through puberty or addicted to League of Legends, I was really a difficult kid to be around. There were so many times that I reacted violently or just was straight up an asshole to my family at times, but they never gave up on me, and now I try to return that favor as best as I can. One thing I've learned is that you only need these few people in your life. You don't need to please everybody, but just reinvest back into those that care for you. When we're too busy trying to please everyone, we dilute our attention and efforts into people that will give less to us than what we put in. This creates an energy deficit where we're constantly giving, they're constantly taking, and we feel burnt out, lonely, and depressed all the time. When you make time for those that truly give to you, you'll be surprised by how much more vibrant your life becomes. And finally guys, the number 1 worst decision you can make in your 20s is relying on your potential. I'm going to leave you guys with this because when we're in our 20s, this is probably the most dangerous decision you can make. Your 20s are a time of experimentation, self-discovery, and novelty. No one is denying you the right to experience any of that. However, be careful of using that luxury to excuse away stupid behavior and cope that I'll eventually figure it out anyway. No, you don't, especially with the precipice of AI knocking on your door. Projecting forward into a future successful state can be emotionally comforting right now, especially if you're lost and confused. But this is no different from masturbating to a hot girl that you didn't have the balls to speak to. Just because you're young and unsuccessful doesn't mean you're gonna grow up to be older and successful. You've seen way too many unsuccessful older people for that to be true. In our 20s, we have more time than everyone else. We can take more shots, fail, and rebound much quicker than everyone else. So in that vein, our 20s should be a time of accelerated effort, not lethargic optimism. Take it from someone who was lucky enough to figure it out. I wish I had done way more when I was like around 17 to 22. I left so much potential happiness and fulfillment on the table because I simply relied on potential too much. This is doubly important because after you graduate college and join the workforce for a few months, the weeks will just start flying by. Everything starts blending in together and you'll rarely have the time that you once did when you were still in school. So don't make the same mistake as me. Know that you still have a lot of time, but strike while the iron is hot. So there you guys have it. Top 10 mistakes you can make in your 20s. If you guys found value out of this video, do the usual thing and like the video. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And let me know one of your worst decisions from your own life that wasn't mentioned in this video. How would you guys do differently in hindsight? That's all from me in this video, guys. I'll see you in the next one.